And welcome to our series kickoff on Solid Edge. This one we're going to go over the sheet metal in ST5. And just a little bit about Swoosh Technologies. We're going on 8 years in business, and we have locations in New England, down through Texas, all across the Midwest. And we are a full solutions provider. We focus on selling the software. We add support with our great AEs in the company. And then we do offer training. And in Solid Edge, that goes into maybe fundamentals training as well as update training throughout the versions. And, we can accommodate beginners as well as, advanced users. We offer 3 choices for training in the classroom on your site, or also we're starting to do online training more often. And if you have more of a specialized industry or business needs, we can take those classes and customize them using your designs and your processes. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Sam Estrada, and he's going to walk you through the demo.
All right, hello everybody. There we go. What we'll cover today is some sheet metal components, improved methods for making design changes, reusing supplier and legacy 3D designs, some advanced sheet metal features, some built-in design evaluation within the actual part that you're working on, documentation, manufacturing support, and some flat pattern development, and some of the drafts that you can get from our superior sheet metaling. We'll start off by, I have this snow plow here that we're going to be working on. We're going to be working on a fuse box that needs to be drawn. Right here we have the electrical component sitting on a sheet metal tab, but we're going to convert this over into an actual box right quick. So let me activate it, turn it around, and we'll begin by scrolling down to this and finding it here in our assembly tree. We're going to go ahead and activate it. There we go. We'll in place, go ahead and get into the editing portion. Right, so. Okay, what we'll do first right quick is we're going to add some flanges to this part by simply clicking the edges of this panel here, and notice, click this other edge here. All we have to do is, using Synchronous Technology, click on the arrow above and it automatically creates my bends, creates a contour flange, and go ahead and creates my bends, my measuring point, and all I have to do now is input my distance on how high I want these to be. So we'll make those 70 millimeters tall. So now I have a box quickly and easily designed, minimal effort. Rotate these around. So notice I have a set of fans over here. I got my electrical components, which are already, the base plate already has the mounting holes for it, but I also have a wire harness sticking out of this end, and I will also be dealing with a lid that will need, there's my lid right there, that will need to cover this whole surface area. So notice this lid has 2 holes right here. These 2 holes are for a locking mechanism. So I will need to draw in a tab, and using Synchronous Technology, it's very easy to do so. I'll just click this tab here, and notice it's pulling the entire edge, but if I select this partial flange command, I can automatically add a smaller tab to make my locking feature here. Go ahead and make that 35 inches. We'll go ahead and throw a dimension back here to nail down my width. Yep, picked the wrong sides. There we go. And we'll go ahead and make this, let's go ahead and make this 40 millimeters, and we'll go ahead and pick our symmetrical command and we'll lock it in place because we don't want that dimension to change. And we will define also the distance from the edge. From the edge right here, we'll put that at 27. 27 from the edge. There we go. Now I have a preset sketch inside here that'll help me draw in my locking slot. And coming over here and using my slot command, I can do that fairly quickly, and we're going to make a 4 millimeter slot with round ends. Click my line, and my slot is created. Now, do that one more time. Up to next, we want to make it 4 millimeters. Okay. There we go. Okay, notice that my sketch went away, and that is because in Synchronous Technology, once you use the sketch and make a feature out of it, it gets consumed. So if I want to reuse that sketch again, I just come over here and restore it. And now I can go in and add a hole for my actual lock. And so we'll make this hole here. We'll go ahead and make this an 8 millimeter hole. Let's lock onto this plane. And using my center command, lock into the center of that line. And now I have my locking hole. And since I don't need that sketch anymore, we'll go ahead and take it out. We'll hide it. Now notice that this tab right here, if I were to keep it the way it is, it'd be a little flimsy and doesn't have much strength to it. So what we'll do is we'll come up here to our HandyDandy gusset command, and we'll place some gussets here to reinforce that bend area. And I'm going to go with the defaults that are set in here. And we're going to fit, and we're going to put 2 in here. We're going to click on this radius. And as simple as that, I now have 2 reinforcing gussets placed into my bend. And I'm going to want this same feature over here. That is easily done by selecting, go ahead and FindSelect. Let's get out of this. Get out of this. Now we'll FindSelect it all. I want to grab the components. Any extras that came in that we don't need, we'll just deselect them. As so, and we're going to mirror them about my X-plane. And as simple as that, I now have two locking tabs. So now we're done with that. We'll go ahead and what I'll work on now is some dimples to place right here. That way I can mount my box to a surface. So I have a pre-sketched circle where I'm going to create my dimple. All I have to do is come over here, create dimple, go into my properties, got a preset at 45-degree angle, 1 degree radius on each side. We're going to pick our region, and we want this to go down 4 millimeters. And as you can see, I now have a dimple that is depressed into the sheet metal part, going down into it. And now all I need to do is go in and add a hole for a bolt. So go back to the hole command, create a 5 millimeter bolt, and click on the center of my circle. Looks like I got one, two, there, I guess. Now, with the same thing I did with the locking tab, I need this dimple right here with the hole to be on all four sides. So the quickest way for me to do it would be come over here to my Pathfinder, select the items I want. I'll go ahead and mirror it. And I will mirror that about my X-plane. And you'll notice, once I flip this around, my second dimple is now placed. Now I'll come back and highlight both of them again, go back to my mirror command, mirror that about my Y-plane, and there we go. I now have four dimples placed into my part. So I've created two flanges, added some gusset reinforcement, added four dimples in it, and hardly used any with minimal effort. Now, if we go back and we toggle in our hardware, we notice that we have some fans sitting over here. Now these fans are going to provide air circulation into my fuse box. So what we have here, what we want to do here is create a sensor. What we want to do is turn on, I've got an airflow here, but we want to create a sensor that will tell us what our airflow is going to look like and help us design these vents a little better. So we'll come over here, we'll create a surface area sensor. We're going to pick the negative space. We're going to pick this face. We'll call this fan airflow. Got this airflow, and then we will pick a threshold of about 15 and set our sensor range at 25, and we'll have it automatically to update the sensor. So our airflow needs to fall over 15 centimeters squared. So we'll go ahead and turn on. I have some predefined holes here. I will start off by creating the bolt holes, which are going to be 10 millimeters, I believe. Let's go 4. And we'll click OK and lock into this plane. And you hit Control H. Make it a little easier to see where I'm clicking to, and then click the center of my holes. There's one. There's another one. My computer's catching up with me. Oops. And just to be sure that there they are. They're actually going through there. Now we need to the center of this hole. We'll place one hole here because we're going to use this as a patterning hole to create our airflow. So let me go ahead and place these other ones on this side. And let's pick that hole right there. Oops. We got one off just a little. There we go. Yeah. We'll come back and fix that one here in a second. pick this one down here. And that one. And our last one will be in the center of this hole right here. There we go. Now let me do some cleanup. We don't want that hole, and to get rid of this, it's just simple. We'll come down here, find this hole in our Pathfinder. There it is, hole number 60. There we go. Right click, delete. Let it update. There we go. Let's go ahead and place that hole back in there. Be sure I select the center of that hole now. There we go. Okay, now with that finally done, we can go ahead and make our pattern for this side. Select our two holes that we want to pattern. Create my fill pattern. Select my regions. Select my distances on which I want to pattern these at. And there are my vent holes. And you notice I still have one sensor, but that's my blank length. Right now my airflow sensor is now in range. It's now 16.3, so I have adequate airflow coming into this side of my fuse box. So let me come down here, and I will hide these over here and come over here to the opposite side. Now, since I've got those vent holes on this side, I need somewhere for the air to come out over here, but I also want to put a sensor on this side as well. So what I'll do is I'll add a different sensor, same thing on the negative space. And we'll call this one, we're going to add some louvers on this side. So airflow. And on this sensor, what we want to do is we want to select the not between operation. And we'll set our thresholds at 10 to 30 and our range from 0 to 40, and I have it automatically tell us. So that means our airflow is going to have to fall within this range. So I select that, and my sensor's in place. I now come over here and activate where my louvers are going to go. Come over to my dimple command and create a louver. Same thing, set my parameters. There's my louver. Pick my plane, and as simple as placing it right over here in this corner. Sure it doesn't touch that edge. There we go. And as we did on the other one, we're going to pattern this one in this region here as well. So come over here, fill pattern, select my region, and we'll set our spacing at 12 and 70. Let's see how many louvers it gives us. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got 10 louvers sitting here. And if I go back to my sensor, I am still outside of my my airflow range. So I have too many louvers. I'm getting too much airflow going through. So I select my pattern, fix that right quick. We'll change our spacing. We'll increase our spacing, that way we can remove some of our louvers. And as it thinks, there we go. I now have 6 louvers, and if I go over and check my sensor, I'm within my range that I preset. So now I've validated that design, I've taken out some extra louvers and saved myself some money. Now we'll turn this back on and we'll see that we still have 2 slots that we need to put in for our wires. So I'll just activate this part, come over here again to my slot command, go to my properties, and I want this to be a 12. And I want it to go from there all the way through next. And I now have a slot. Now to get this slot over, I need to copy it. And I will just select my slot here using Synchronous Technology. Create a copy. At 45 millimeters. And I've created. Takes a little while for it to catch up. And when it's done, it should create. There it is. I now have my other slot. So I now have my air vent, my fans. So now what we need to concentrate on would be our lid. Let's come over here. Let's turn on our lid and see what's going on with it, because we're going to make it fit. Okay, so there's my lid. We'll go ahead and turn off the internal. Yep. There we go. Let's see, now my lid right here, I'm going to need a hole right here to pass through this, and what I'll do is we will use the preset. We'll lock onto this plane right here, and what I'll do is I'll use an existing sketch. So I select the wireframe. We forgot to do one thing. So, alright, need to activate it. There we go. Now we can go back into the command. There we go. Now I have a hole. Click on that hole. I want to click on the region. And I want to extrude it through all. There we go. Now I have a hole going all the way through my box. Now if you notice right here, if I were to pick this lid up, I'll be running into interference here because this edge is too tall. So to fix that, we'll get out of this command right here. We'll turn off our lid again. Go back to this part right here, and what we want to do is we'll go ahead and throw some rounds into these corners right here. Go ahead and round off these edges. We'll go ahead and grab the other side. There we go. And we'll go ahead and make this flange a hair bit smaller as well. So as soon as there we go. Go ahead and grab this face right here. We're going to suspend our live rules because we don't want the other side to come down. So we'll drag this down, we'll say about 16, there we go, about 16 millimeters. Okay, so now I've bent that down, now I have clearance for my lid, but then you also notice, we'll also take a look at this last pesky warning symbol that it's throwing up here. We'll go into our flat pattern right quick. We do that just by going tools up the flat pattern and automatically unfolds our current box that we're working on, and we'll check our sensors and notice that that sensor was set up for my blank width, and right now I am 404, so I'm over my 400, so I'm going to have to make a change to these two tabs right here in order to bring it back down into compliance. So we'll go back into our synchronous model, click on our edge here, go ahead and restore my live rules, and we'll drag this edge and we'll go back 10 millimeters, and we'll come back over here, our flat pattern, we'll update it, and notice that my sensor error message went away, and I am underneath my threshold. So there's my flat pattern. So now what we'll do is we'll go back to synchronous and we'll take a look at our bend table before we go into our sketch. And we'll select this, we'll go here to bend table. This bend table will show us our sequence of bends for each one of these parts, and notice how there's my one, there's my third bend, my second bend, and if I need any of this change, which I wouldn't want to bend these tabs in last. I want to go ahead and move number 5 and 6, we'll go ahead and move those up, and notice how the sequence changes on my active drawing. So there's my bend 1, there's my bend 2, and my bend 3 is over here, bend 4, bend 5. Say I want 6 to be number 3. So we'll just click that, move up. There we go, 1, 2, 3, and we'll go ahead and bring 6 up to be number 4. There we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead, okay, we can save that. Now we can go into our draft environment. And to make this into a draft, it's easy enough. Just go over here, File, New, Create Drawing. We're going to run the wizard, create an ISO draft. We're going to pick Flat Pattern. Click our top view. And we come over here just to double check to be sure that we do have our top view. We'll rotate this around. We'll go ahead and accept that one. Oops. And it went off to a different screen. Sorry, we'll just try that again. So now, come back over here, New, Create Drawing. Want the flat pattern, the top. Back over here, rotate this. I'm going to show that face. My louvers. And for some weird reason, it's not cooperating with me. It was doing it just fine earlier, so we'll come back and try one more time. There we go. And we'll do that again. Now we'll try it again. Let's see if it works this time. We want our flat pattern. There we go. There's our top. And we'll go ahead and come over here, and we're going to add in an ISO view down at the corner. And we'll change our scale to 1, and we want our shaded edges to be on. There's our part. So now when we come over here to our bend table, we want to make it off of that. Come over here, we'll go ahead and give it a title. We'll call this Fuse Box. Fuse Box Housing. And our columns right here, we'll keep the sequence. We'll get rid of the features, and we'll get rid of included angles. Again, you can customize this to show whatever you want. And then in my bend callouts, I want to add in my bend direction. Hit OK. And then my keynotes pop up showing which bend needs to go first or second or third. All I have to do is relocate, click, and toggle along the lines. And I can reposition each one of these texts just in case it gets in the way. So there, easy enough. I have my draft. I can go ahead and save it. So now what we have left is the lid. So we can come back over here. Come back over here to our assembly drawing. And we'll go ahead and turn on our lid. And we'll activate that portion. Okay, our lid right here. One thing I want to do first is probably move these tabs to the inside. So what I'll do is I'll put my steering wheel there, hold down the shift key, and I want to offset it by 1 millimeter. That'll help that'll put in a predetermined gap. So when I actually move this tab in, notice that Synchronous Technology, both sides are moving together because it's symmetrical. But with that 1 millimeter tab, the 1 millimeter spacing that I put in, it'll allow me to automatically just click. I can click on this edge. Once it selects, yep, it disappeared on me. There we go. I now have a small gap in there. So with this blue X that's sitting, I want to go ahead and add in another sheet metal feature. I want to add a quick bead into this. And I want to add a circular shape. Pick all this, say OK. And if you want to keep these defaults and use them over and over again, you just click over here and save features default, and it'll bring up the same items over and over again. So I'll pick my two. You can choose which direction you want to go in. And there you have it. I got two nice little beads sitting on top of my box. Now what I want to do is I want to create a quick little handle using this one single line, using the same bead command. How do I do it? I got one saved, U-shaped. It's going to bring it up this way. It's going to be about 100 millimeters width, long. Hit OK. Select. I can go up or down. There we go. Now I have my quick handle made in less than a couple of seconds. So now I've got my handle, I've got my lid in place. I can go ahead and go back to my main assembly. Now what we'll do is we'll go back up here, and what we're going to do is we're going to check our clearance on our lid. So right now it has a grounded relationship. We'll go ahead and suppress it. And we're going to add a relationship to those two corners there. And come up here to my drag. And notice that when I open up my lid, I now have clearance in the back, clearance in the front, and it's able to move quite freely. As so. So I've created a sheet metal fuse box, and I can go back, see how it looks inside my main assembly here. As this thing saves. There we go. We'll come back over here. We'll go to click on our fuse box configuration. There's our new fuse box. And if we want to turn on our lid, there it is. So that gives you a quick run through the different features that we have inside of Solid Edge and the sheet metal features. There's some other ones. There's some other cool. We'll go ahead and save this. And I'll show you one quick other one. Sheet metal is in synchronous and ordered right quick. Here I have two contour flanges that are drawn. So if I go to my contour flange and I select this one and say I want to go this way, it's only going to recognize this one edge. I can't go in there and click on my radiuses right here. That's something that synchronous can't do yet, and it's best done in an ordered environment. So if I transition to ordered, come over here, select my contour flange again, select my sketch. Wanted to come this way, but now I have an option of wrapping around. Boom. And you notice it wraps around the entire feature there. Nice and smooth. I can also come in here now, since I'm in an ordered environment, I can suppress that said feature. And I can go ahead, make a contour flange of this other side. I want to go all the way around, click, hit OK, finish. And notice I have now an entirely different shape, but I'm able to go around round edges in an ordered environment. One more thing, right quick, we'll start a new one. Go into a sheet metal environment right quick. We'll go ahead and sketch out a quick tab. And I'm in synchronous, so come down here, I'll make a rectangle, give it some thickness. Let's go ahead and make it 10 gauge. I'll come down here, lock onto this plane, and I want to add a quick couple lines down here. So we'll come here, we'll go here, we'll go here. So I want to make this one horizontal. There we go. contour flange. I want to go up. This direction. I'll go ahead and put one over here. And I want to go ahead and put one on this side as well. Accept it. Now I have a complete flange that went all the way around with minimal effort. Now say I want to go in here, and I can go in here and take a look at the flat pattern right quick. Flatten it out. See what it looks like. Go back to my tool, go back into my synchronous environment. Come over here to this face and say I want to add a cut. So we'll come here and draw a quick radius there. We'll come over here, grab onto that end, and we'll come just about right there. Create an arc. We'll tie it to this bottom edge here. There we go. We'll make a tangent over here. Okay, now I don't have to trim that up or anything because I'm going to be working inside a region. Maybe a little too big, so we'll go ahead and we'll see what happens if I can extend this flange out. There we go. Yeah, didn't look too good. I'll come over here, click my regions, and we'll do a finite cut. And notice there I can go in and go through the whole thing, or if I click this, it'll quickly make a straight cutout, unfold it for me, and that way I can make my cutout. Now if I made the slot smaller, it would have added that slot in somewhere over here. So we'll go ahead and try that right quick. We'll go ahead and do some quick editing on, see if it's going to mess. Yeah, it's going to mess up my, so we'll go ahead and just go like that. Go ahead and make a new sketch right here. We'll make that smaller. Yeah, let's make it about right. Let's make it about right there. Arc it around. Go to there. Go ahead and trim that up. Yep. Come on, trim. Would it help if I select the trim command, wouldn't it? There we go. We don't need you, you, or you. Come on, there we go. Let's get out of that there. Now let's try it again right quick. Multiple select. Go finite down. Unfold. There we go. We got the corner of it there. There we go. So there's some neat things that you can do with the cutouts and the different features that you can use inside sheet metal. We've got about 15 minutes till 1. If anybody's got any questions now.
It doesn't look like any questions have come through yet, Sam. We'll give it a couple minutes, but I do want to remind everybody, or let you know if you don't know already, that we have Solid Edge University coming up this June. It's going to be on the 24th through the 27th in Cincinnati, and it's a really great event. You get to, network with peer Solid Edge users, hear from some of them in some presentations, as well as, meet the developers and ask any questions. And it was a really good turnout last year. We're expecting, a lot more this year. And, you can go on solidedgeu.com. That's solidedge, the letter U.com to register. And if you register before March 22nd, there are some early bird discounts. So I'll be sending an email out around to everybody to give a reminder, but it really is a great opportunity to learn more about the software. And it doesn't look like we have any questions that came through yet, Sam, so I guess we can go ahead and wrap up.
Okay, well, let me show them this one quick thing on a cone, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, here I've got an ordered environment. I've created two sketches, one on an offset plane further back, and I've created a small nick. Created about an 1/8 of an inch gap. It's a 6-inch radius, 1/8 of an inch gap on the top. And what I'll do is I'm going to make a rolled cone out of this right quick. So if I come over to my contoured flange, hit my loft flange, select my first feature, select my second feature, accept it, preview it. Yeah, put my thickness in. Let's go, what about 10 gauge? 1, 3, 4, 5. And we'll put our thickness to the inside. I now have a rolled cylinder, a rolled cone. And if I go over here to my flat pattern, select my edge, I want to unfold it at, and suppress my sketches real quick. I now have a rolled cone. Now, if I wanted to go in there and do this, say you couldn't roll this and you had to step break it, come back over here to my ordered environment. There we go. Come over here to my flange, edit my definition, come over here to my properties, and I can change it, and it'll compute. There we go. Say I did want to be gung-ho and step it on out, I could do that. And at any time, since it is in an ordered environment, I can come back and edit this whole size and make it, we'll give it a 10-inch radius, and it'll change. Again, that's one of the other cool features that you can do inside SolidWorks, inside Solid Edge. It does most of the thinking for you, so you spend more time designing than struggling in there with the program. And with that, I can wrap up my stuff.
All right, well, thank you, Sam. Just another reminder that on the 7th, we'll be doing the second part of this series over assembly. So since you're already registered, I'll go ahead and register you for the second part, and you'll get an email for a reminder. Thanks, everybody, for coming.